We are here and we are live. I see us streaming live. I see us. We are live on the pages. If you go on the pages where we're streaming, I see right now we are on the First Cousins Retreat, streaming live.
Streaming live from YouTube.
Streaming live from all channels. Welcome. We are here. We are here for yet another wonderful talk storm. Another episode of the Talk Storm, I should say. Thank you, and we welcome you so much for coming. Thank you for joining. We have our wonderful, lovely panel here. Well, we have our co-hosts, which we know myself, Deborah LaNier. I'm so grateful to be here. We have LaTishia LaNier-Mckinnie, and of course, we have Tim Arrington, and we have a special guest, our cousin, by the way. We are all from this panel tonight. Cheryl, Lawson, and Tim. Everybody has to say that's going to give you a lot more information of what's to come. I just want to say thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to yet another wonderful healing episode. And let's get to it. What's going on?
What's up? I can't see you, baby.
What's going on? Oh, there we go. There we
You.
go.
What's up? There you are. Yeah, I can't see you all. We're gonna figure this out. What's up, cousins?
We can see you.
Yeah, we can see you, so it's all good. We just gonna keep rolling like this.
Got it. Right.
We're in the building.
Hey, family. Hey.
Hello, hello.
I want to see your faces.
It's kind of hard.
Cheryl.
Hello, my loves. Hello, my cousins.
Hey, family. Look at that beautiful face.
Thank you so much for joining.
There you go.
Look at that
So
handsome
beautiful.
face and those other two beautiful faces.
Oh, yeah.
So much. And it is likewise ditto and all of that. We're just sending a whole bunch of love to ourselves and out there to the wide world, to our family, to our friends, to the community, to everybody. And we know you can feel it because we are just some loving beings over here and happy to be here in the numbers. So yeah, let's get to it. I mean, what really started all of this, as far as us coming together on a consistent basis regarding this topic, is the book Generational Curses No More. LaTishia LaNier-Mckinnie, my sister T, BKAT. That's her second book. So everybody knows you join us every other week, every other Thursday here for the Talk Storm. In between time, at all times, at any time, you can just go ahead and click that QR code that's all up and down LaTishia LaNier-Mckinnie's page. And in ways we're going to share, of course, before we leave here tonight. But definitely, Generational Curses No More is a coming of age story for LaTishia LaNier-Mckinnie. But it definitely opens up the door for so much more conversation because she's exposing and talking about some of the things that she has experienced and dealt with, being a victim of abuse, being a victim of molestation and rape, and how it came by way of people that, we trust. And we're going to go into this, and we have been going into it. And we just hope that, would just be a continuous stream of healing conversations that can help us all be free, from the bondage and from the experiences that we've, most of the time have suppressed and we swept under the rug, but no more, right? That's what we're all saying. And that's why we're here. So that's what I'm saying. Go on.
All right. Thank you so much, Laura, for that warm introduction. Go ahead, Timmy. Just take over. This your show, Timmy. You're the one in charge tonight. Rock it.
Don't do that. Well, hey everybody, hey family, love you all. Let me just say how proud I am of you, T, for taking the initiative and for having the vision to create this platform, because it's not just our story. There are so many people that, oh my God, that are dealing with this or have dealt with this at some point. And I feel now is the time to have the conversation.
Right.
But not only that, but let the goal be for all of us to heal from it,
Yeah.
heal from it. And one of the main ways that we can do that, to help in doing that, to aid in doing that, is to talk.
Right.
Open your mouth and talk
Right.
and share your experiences. Now, I'm going to say what I've been saying. The truth will make you free.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to add to that. It's going to make some people uncomfortable, but ultimately it's going to make
Absolutely.
you free. So have the conversation, heal yourself so that other people can know your story and know that they're not alone. And here's the thing that I'll say again. Well, I didn't say it, but I'm going to say it now. Free people, free people.
Right.
And so we have got to start talking. What I love is that we're all family. That's the part that I love. What I hate, it's a strong word, I know hate is a strong word. What I hate and understand is that we all had the same traumatic experiences at different times, but oh my God. But now we're here, we have to tell the story and expose it and heal from it.
Right. 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 You're so right. So I'm really excited about tonight. I just want to normally the Border Ladies ground rules, but listen, we want you to engage in conversation tonight. We have such an amazing platform ready and everything conversation that will begin. We are definitely on a different platform, as you can see. There's a lot of colorful things going on, and we just wanted to do something a little bit more and move our level of excellence as we grow. But we want you to definitely be involved. We want you to ask all the questions you need to ask. We want you to get bold enough to give your questions like you've been doing on our as we stream live in the comments, and we'll definitely approach some of the questions as we come. And Deborah, take over from there. Keep giving some house rules.
Yeah,
Deborah,
just
you ready to
apologizing
continue?
right now because trying to. It's a little jumpy. I'm getting. Hold
Okay.
on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
My apology, just a little technical difficulty. But if you can't hear me, I'm just gonna. Though I'm not seeing the screen now, just popped out. But yeah, I'm just. If you can clearly, I'll keep going. Just let me know. Good.
We can see you as well. Is that
Okay,
good?
perfect. Yeah, and that's why there was a little hesitation. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties, but if we're good, we're here. All right. So yeah, just like my sister said, I want to say thank you to the people who have been reaching out. Wow, I'm overwhelmed. I mean, in a good way, and there's other feedback that we're getting from several sources. And thank you for the support. Thank you for the encouragement. Um, I actually had someone say to me that they feel vindicated, they feel seen, and they didn't even have an opportunity to get on the platform yet. But because their story was spoken and the name was said out loud as to the person who was the perpetrator, and who was, you because one thing I realized that for myself, that there were some things that happened inappropriate to me as a child that I guess I minimized it because it wasn't as bad as what happened may have happened to someone else. And we realized that we're talking about the same purpose, and I'm going to respect. But I just thought that was a
Yeah.
powerful, vindicated, seen, to be seen and to be vindicated.
Yeah.
And when we talking about where we're trying to take this and where it can possibly go, the sky is not even the limit. It's way beyond that, because the trauma and the pain that can be associated with feeling silenced and feeling unseen can be debilitating. It can
Right.
actually rob a person of their future. But now in these spaces, we're able to be a part of somebody being liberated, of somebody feeling free, of somebody feeling like, what happened to me was real. And guess what? It was wrong. Whatever the portion it was, I'm not going to have to say anymore that my pain is not as bad because it's not as bad as yours. You mean I have to suppress pain? That I can live and be better? You mean that I can share my testimony and I can live a free life? I mean, there's a lot of things happening in the background. So I just want to encourage everybody and anybody who's under the sound of our voice now or later, throughout this conversation, throughout this dialogue, and throughout this talk. It may be any time. Come on your time when you feel compelled to do. Find somebody to share your story with. You deserve it. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I definitely want to encourage everybody. And again, thank you for everyone that's just coming and reaching out to T, reaching out to Tim, reaching out to me. The people who are here and just joining, it's happening naturally. This is not something that we took the time to say, you know what, let's A, then go to B, and this is C, and then okay. None of that is natural, organic. What you're seeing is unfolding right before our eyes. It's just as real and as natural and random in a way as, because the time is now, right?
Yep.
And T heeded the call, and she wrote that book. And we are here to discuss the book, the different layers and complexities within the abuse and the way that it's been hidden in the church a lot, in the church community.
Yeah.
And the way that book has called us to pick a side. Are you on the side of the darkness, or the person who's going to just act like it didn't happen? Or are you going to be on the side of the people who understand we got to make a choice? We're going to either live that way, or we're going to make a new way for ourselves and for the children and the next generations to come, so that they don't have to be scared to come to somebody. And they have to tolerate or deal with something, or something's wrong with them, or it's their fault. So whatever may have not happened right or correctly in the past, we can't rewrite that, but we can take what is ahead, and that is why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
That is awesome, Deborah. I appreciate that, because if it's not for the children and for our next generation, and also to heal people who have been through these issues and these trials, if it's not for that, then we need not to do this. It's not to be trying to look good, not trying to, and can I be honest, it's not really even about selling a book. What my heart's desire is to get this message across, so that we can stop a possible predator, one, right? So that we'll be able to have a child find the boldness inside of them to speak up and tell their story. It's happened to me now, so we can stop it sooner than later. Or it's for that grandmother who got this negative feeling inside of her because she don't think she did it right back then, and now she can right his or her wrong and before fathers. There's so many angles that I believe that God is going to use this platform to be able to help so many people. We have a dying society, and the only reason why we're dying is because a lot of us grown folks polluted so many children that are now adults. And even before our generation, the parents before them, and the families before them, the churches before them, the places of work before them polluted the children before them. So it's like a big old cycle. And so when you mention and you constantly repeat that it's called generational curses, I just keep hearing everybody say generational, generational, generational. It's because it's about time that we break this ugly cycle and we tear down the kingdom of darkness. So I am so excited that God is giving us this, and I will say us, because every time I turn around, the wonderful speakers that you see, every time they come, every week that they come, you recognize that their story ties into ours, because either they've experienced exactly what we've gone through and what the book explains, or they have something that is just even phenomenal for how God at least allowed them to come out, or for whatever their situation is. It is their story, but the similarities is what connects us. So if the similarities connects us in so many ways in our own community, can you imagine in your community the people that have gone through and never had a voice to be able to speak for themselves? And I heard something, I believe my cousin Cheryl, I don't know, Cheryl, you remember you said something today, I think. And the bottom line is that in our communities, if we say nothing, nothing happens.
That's right.
But if we speak today, like, and I repeat what Tim says, something can happen. Someone will be
Yeah.
free. Somebody, like Deborah has been really, really telling you week after week, somebody will be able to finally say, you know what? Me too. And
Yes.
I know we had our Me Too movement that just went past, but it's not past. As a matter of fact, I believe that the Me Too movement and everything that went before us was like a pre-stage for where God is about to take to find people to have that total deliverance that they've been searching for.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's right.
Oh man. So go ahead, Deborah or Tim. Either one of you guys just continue and then we'll jump on in, okay? Anybody else got something else to add to that first part?
What just came to my mind while you were talking, a lot of times people who are victims, we've asked the question, why me? Why did it happen to me? Why me? Why me? But what I'm realizing is another way to ask the question for me is, well, why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me? Because we who have grown up in church, we said this a number of times. God, use me for your glory. Use me. And I said this to you, cousins, a few times before. The thing about God using me or asking God to use me is that we never get to tell God how to do it.
Never.
We never get to tell God
Right.
how to use me.
That's right.
So why not? Even if me being in a weird way molested or raped or whatever, how can you get glory out of this, God? How can
Mm.
you get glory out of this? How, man?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why not me? Why not me? Why not I expose what happened to me so that somebody else can
Yes.
be free and
Mm-hmm.
not deal with the pain that I
Mm-hmm.
did. Just as we have heard the story time and time again about Christ dying for us so that
Mm-hmm.
we can live,
Right.
we have responsibility now to die so that others can live. Not
And
die,
it's time out for being embarrassed.
but expose because it's not your fault.
Oh my
It
goodness.
wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. So
Right.
I'm not embarrassed. You know what I mean? I'm no longer embarrassed. I was before. I mean, the shame.
Yeah.
We've dealt with it for years, but
And
now,
you know what, Timmy? We finally went. How did that happen? Do y'all see all of us? Oh,
yeah.
Now it's working.
Thank you.
well, you know what, Timmy?
There we are.
I don't want to hide Cheryl's face with this thing, but Timmy, listen, I don't know what just happened, but praise God. Okay, so when you talk about embarrassment, I could have taken embarrassment a total different way because when I went to college, my friends, watch this, my people of color who were uppity from the upper class, had all this money and everything, they looked at me like I had a what's that word? I have to keep pushing my hair back. Like I had a horn sticking out my head when I would tell them my background.
Mhm.
And it was like the people who had somewhat financially arrived that were my color, they had no comprehension of anything. And it just seemed like so foreign. Like that doesn't happen to anybody. And I used to sort of kind of hold it back when it came to them because they had no concept of trouble. And I don't know what you would say in that regard because all the white boys and dudes was telling their stories.
Mhm.
And the white girls, they was telling their stories of all of their violations. But then that was the only time I think now I've been totally delivered because I could care less. But at that time was the only time the cat had my tongue, except for when I was growing up, because the Lord gave me a moment to just woosah and be focused on living and growing when he released me from the abuse time. So it would no longer be in my life after 12 years old. And so that was when God gave me freedom, but I couldn't talk yet because God allowed it to suffocate inside of me and be forgotten or thrown away to some degree until he revealed my abuse reality at the age of 19 when I'm hearing all these other white kids tell their story. So it's kind of deep when you say embarrassed. I didn't realize I had embarrassment until you just said it. I remember being embarrassed in front. I would say names because the world would know exactly who I'm talking about because their life was perfect, supposedly. And they didn't really find trouble until, Timmy, I kid you not, they didn't really find trouble till they became adults. And Deborah knows some of their stories. So that means your trouble may not have happened while you was a child. But when you became adults, you wasn't ready for the reality of the world and the vulnerability. Then abuse start happening. Now you get married, got the wrong person. So it's like, Timmy, you said this a couple of weeks ago. Everybody gonna have a story. They're gonna have a situation. And it may not happen to you when you're young, but something gonna happen. It's crazy. Am I wrong? Anybody want to interject in that area where even though something may not happen,
be like a part of life,
like a part of life somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at some point, we all
it
have.
seems like it. I don't know. I'm having a little lag on my end, but I would
No,
say
you
like,
good. You perfect. You perfect.
is it an echo there?
No, you sound
Okay,
great. Say
good.
that again.
I wanted to say like, it took a while for me to even come to terms with some of the inappropriate things that happened to myself when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I didn't speak about it at all because it was happening everywhere, left and right. And I'm like, okay, well, did that actually happen to me? Yeah. So I think even for the people that seem like they have like a life that they didn't go through anything as a child, sometimes you have to swirl things around in your brain again because you may have normalized abuse or you may have minimized something that you've experienced, or you may have suppressed it so deeply into your subconscious that it's going to be a triggering time in the future and it all comes rushing back. I know people who have told me their story that they
Yeah.
forgot stuff to them until something happened to somebody else, and it all came back. Now, for myself, just to be specific, because I don't want to be vague, there was a minister of music at the that I went to, right? And I'm just going to right now. I don't have a problem saying his name. I'm going to say his name. Okay, I'm going to say his name is Elder Derek White. Okay, he is he took us around to churches. We performed. We won awards. We were a talented bunch of young people. He was the not only the minister of music or the music teacher, so to speak. We would be on the road winning a McDonald's Fest. Well, second place, still good. And we were a bunch of kids. But one thing that was really always wanted to take the little
Mm-hmm.
and I could say other people went through with molestation and rape. It was inappropriate. Sure, I had my hand on his heart on while he was playing with me.
Wow.
11, 12, 13, 15, 50-year-old, 15-year-old to have a much older 20 something you aware at all. Not okay.
Right.
It's not okay. So one of the reasons why is because I want to break down thoughts that myself what we went through is not bad enough. We're not of anybody investigating our situation. We're not of somebody hearing we went through that was wrong because at least it's not as bad as the other one. Listen,
Yeah.
give the any space, any room to a situation and not happened that
Deborah, your internet going up. Can you hear us?
now compels me to now I can't go backwards. I do
Right. Deborah, your internet going out, baby. We can't hear you. Can you hear us, Deborah? No, we can't hear you at all. Tim, can you hear me?
I hear you. I don't hear her.
I can hear you
Are
also.
you good? Okay. Speak the word now.
She's
Can you write down your thoughts and we're gonna try to come back to that because I want to introduce Cheryl. Give her some time in just a moment, or unless you want to continue where you are. We don't hear you at all, baby. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just introduce our guest for tonight. I'm going to put her in a different position. I appreciate you so much. And if Timmy, unless there's something else you want to add to that portion where she was trying to,
yeah.
okay,
I mean, I was waiting for the right moment. That's why I had to write it down because I respect your platform and I want to make
no,
sure
you're fine.
that we are flowing the way we need to. But I want to say that we have got to pay attention to the grooming.
Right.
Yeah.
When she mentioned that he did stuff, he didn't do the act, but the
Yeah.
fact
That's
that
stuff.
groomed her. We have got to pay
That,
attention to the grooming.
that slick stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. The other thing is what I've noticed, a common thing that we all have in common, and something I've noticed, like even because y'all, we are in Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a lot of conversation about sexual awareness. I just so happened to log on. I was scrolling yesterday on Facebook, and there was a live going on, and I just kind of came in on the middle of it. And one thing that I noticed, the common thread of the age being around between 11 and 13.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy because that's what happened to me, 11, 12, 13 years
Yeah.
old. That's the age range that predators
Mm-hmm.
to target.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense, man.
Oh,
But pay attention, parents, please, to the grooming. The grooming, man.
yeah.
So go ahead. I just need to say that.
Deborah, are you good? Are you ready to continue? I was going to run with moving to Cheryl's bio, but go ahead. You got any more? Because we can't hear you. I think you're moving your mouth. I don't know what happened.
Can't hear you, babe.
It's not okay. So in the meantime, between time, as we troubleshoot and try to figure out what's going on with Deborah's volume, can you hear me now, Deborah? Can you speak now? She went out. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're so excited for tonight's guest. It's just been such a amazing gift that God has bestowed upon us in our family.
Yes.
I just want to say to my cousin Cheryl L. Lawson-Wright, we so appreciate you for joining us this evening and allowing us and allowing yourself to be able to come on this platform and talk with us. I know you and I just really got acquainted, though we've seen each other many times on Facebook, but we're just getting acquainted. And then you show me pictures of us being at the same
Mhm.
situations a couple of when our family members passed, and then we was like, oh, okay, that's my cousin. So I just give God the glory for you joining us tonight. Her heart is pure. She loves the Lord. She's done amazing things, and I'm just going to read some of her bio for you real quick. Cheryl is the daughter of the late Hugh Lawson and Hassie Lynch Lawson. She's a mother of two sons, two bonus daughters, and one grandson. She's a 1984 graduate of dear old Edward Waters and became a member of the Nu Lada chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Inc. And that was in the spring of 1983. And she has served the community well in her roles as an educator, mentoring youth, young adults, and completing her high school, assisting with the process of entering college, and assisting the underprivileged, disabled, and individuals in crisis. She fights for equality, fairness, and justice for all, and also promotes living a toxic-free life, mind, body, and spirit. As a 12-year-old breast cancer survivor, since 2012, she has been an active member of the Jacksonville Mammograms Dragon Boat Team. That is so phenomenal, Cheryl. Dragon boating is a sport that she has grown to love, and a sport that allows breast cancer survivors to connect and support each other while safely staying fit and competing for the cause worldwide. Cheryl loves comforting fellow cancer survivors, patients with little hope, through sharing the journey as a thriving survivor and serving the elderly in the community. Now, I do want to mention real briefly, my beautiful cousin is a author, and the name of her book is a phenomenal name, and I'm gonna say it from memory because it's not written in front of me. So the memory I have is called Jewels. Tell me if I'm wrong, Cheryl. You're gonna have to correct me. Jewels of My Journey. Am I correct?
That's right. You're
I
correct.
think that is a phenomenal name. I'll tell you, you saw me when I told you the other day. I said, girl, that name is beautiful. So I want to go more into her background, but I believe that when you hear her speak, when you hear her story, her testimony, you're going to be blessed and you're going to sense so much more from this awesome author. He has such a large, vast background, especially in the area of nonprofit and owning her own business. And I'm just going to let you have the floor. You take your time, you talk to the audience, and whatever God leads you to do, we're down for whatever, okay?
All right. Hello, my beautiful family.
God bless you.
Hello, beautiful people that's in the audience that have joined us this evening. Thank you for tuning in. And I want to thank my cousins for allowing me this opportunity to share. Um, I do know that the time is right. The time is now, and it's time for our voices to be heard.
Oh,
Not only are we family, but sadly, we are connected in a traumatic way.
Yeah.
Along
Yeah.
with my cousins, I too have gone through the journey of experiencing molestation. Not by a family member from me. So, not that it makes it even any worse or better. There's nothing good about it. But it was a betrayal on both ends. Here it is, my cousins betrayed by family and some other outsiders, I think, from Listen to Deborah. And then with mine, from what word I want to use? A man of the cloth, a man who is supposed to help heal, a place where the hospital to go and save souls. He was going about abusing, molesting little girls. My story, I think I was around the age of 11, 12, going into middle school when I started to attend my early years. I attended church with my godmother. And then can't even recall. I think it was the activities or something there in the AME church that drew me, and I wanted to go and start attending church with my mom. So during that time, and Tim, you talked about the grooming. That is so prevalent because now that I think about it, the grooming process started to where I've always been a studious person, even as a little girl, where you're always helping, always working, always, had the writing. So I actually started, and I didn't mention this before when we talked, typing sermons, typing
mm,
there at the church.
yeah.
And that was when the grooming started
Mm,
there in the office.
my
The
God.
touching, the talking, making me feel insecure. Um, I think you all can see the gap in my teeth. So I was made to feel insecure about that individuals would not care for me, they would misuse me, they would abuse me. But this supposedly God sent person was going to help me and protect me.
Mm,
And eventually, the actual act of molestation actually started.
Jesus.
I won't go into all of the long drawn out details, but yes, as an underage girl, I was penetrated by a man old enough to be my father, a man that was supposed to be protecting me.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I would say, used to satisfy his crazy sexual antics by him not only penetrating me, but using toys on me. And some may say, why didn't you talk? Why didn't you say anything? Part of me wanted to, but because of my no have opened my mouth, that I would have caused a bigger problem in my family. Because my now who loved his family dearly, he would have actually this individual, this sick
Mm-hmm.
individual. And I did not want to be the cause of my family, the chance of losing my father, the only real man that me.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost my voice. I decided, and not knowing how it would, traumatize me, where and understanding now why there are so many visuals now, because for many reasons they are afraid to speak. And my fear to speak was I dad. I did not want to be the cause of my family being destroyed. So I endured. I endured the eventually I graduated from high school, went off to college, even town, going to college.
Mm-hmm.
I would be free. I would be safe. This person
Mm-hmm.
constantly, not that he was able to bother me there, but he still would constantly call, constantly try to. My phone number was changed probably at least 12 plus times, maybe more. They could not understand, girl, why are you changing your phone when we got cell phone? Why do you keep changing your phone number? Still at that time, although I was, still my father would have killed this man. I kept my mouth closed. I kept my mouth closed to the point to where I didn't even talk. I wasn't a very vocal person. Failed the class, English, in my English composition class, and the professor failed me because she said young, because I did not speak in class. I wrote, and that was what got me through my journey as a little girl. I would draw to keep, I guess you can say, my mind, and during that process of, there was this make believe friend that was there. And fast forwarding to the day, I know that make believe God, the Holy Spirit, that was there and carrying me. And that make believe friend, I didn't understand how or when or how, but reassured he had me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm going to jump around, and so I'm going to fast forward to the time that I encountered this individual as an adult worker in Jacksonville, Florida. I didn't say that I grew up in South Florida, and I was in North Florida at this time, living, married, had children. This marriage did not stop this person from calling me and trying to, and asking at some point when he would call, to allow him. My husband and I engaged together. That's how sick this person. But then moving on to the time that I encountered him, that was what we would call the annual conference in the AME church. My church hosting the annual conference for our area, and this individual was there, and he became ill. He was a diabetic, I think his sugar. So he needed to get juice, needed to get crackers, whatever that process you would go sustain you until you could get medical attention. Asked me to go. We were upstairs on the second floor. My pastor asked me to go down crackers and juice for the shepherd. And I'm just paralyzed. Why should I have to go and get something to help the person that harmed me, that hurt me? But I was obedient to the kitchen. And when I got there, it was like a war. It had two spirits. It was like the spirit of good and the spirit of evil. My shoulder, each shoulder. And it was a battle against good and evil. Spirit would say, don't do it. Don't take them anything. Let them die. That good spirit, look at him. He's suffering. You're going to be okay. Be my child. That bit in it. Think of how he hurt you. And it was just back and forth, back. I was able to finally get myself together. The tears were flowing. Put myself together. Went back upstairs. Placed the stuff on the table. Trying to run away, rush away. And as I walked away as fast as I had to get away, this gentleman, I would never forget him, Dr. Charles Spivey, said to me, I see your beauty. You're glowing. I don't know what just, there was a dark cloud over you. You're shining. You're glowing. I see your beauty. Continue to shine and glow. And by that time, I was about to explode. I rushed on the elevator, and it was like the sky with tears.
My
God. And I did feel the release. Journey to get to total healing, but I felt that release. And just as God promised, that person, I did not see face to face to know, but I knew and I heard the long, miserable death, sickness, dying, alone, broken, with nothing and with no one. He did just what he told me he would do. This individual suffered. For me to try to be vindictive, there was no need for me to. That make-believe friend, who I then recognized was my Almighty God, our Almighty God, that kept his promise to see the perpetrator suffer, go to a demise. To this day, since that time, I've been determined to speak. Like I shared with her, stated that I did not have a tongue. She didn't know whether or not I had a tongue, and that I write, but I needed to also share her word was verbally that which I put on paper. So not only truth, I go out to others and I encourage them to also speak their truth, to try to help them the same pain that I've gone through and that my cousin through and that so many others have suffered through. The book that came from all of my journaling. Never knew inspirational writings, never knew it was a form of poetry, but God spoke back and said it was time for me to publish and work that I had written over the years into a book to share with others. God for the strength and the wisdom. I have published my at least 3 to 4 others that I have to complete, but no longer be a, a voiceless person in the wilderness. I will now be a voice for those who are in order to empower and give them strength to release their stories so they too can help others. And I pray with this movement that we will be able to expose that lives will be saved and that eventually worry about anyone else suffering in the manner that we have suffered. There's so much more I could say. Does anyone have any questions?
First of all, you're such an amazing individual, and I just thank you for your courage because you know. But before, give me a second. Timmy, is your phone up? Because it's a lot of feedback from your computer. You see when I do that, it's quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you hear though? 'Cause
Do
there's
you, do
nothing.
you have the volume up on your phone that you may see Facebook with?
I'm not doing. I'm not using my phone. I'm using a computer.
Okay, it's just making a lot of noise.
Really? Was it like paper?
No, it's like sharp. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Watch this. Watch this. Now you don't hear it, but if you go like that. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's all right. Let's continue. But Cheryl, I just want to say I thank you for your courage. I thank you for your courage. Your courage. I thank you for your heart. I thank you for telling us your story. I will say this. For some reason, it's appearing that some people are not seeing on a live, but I see the live here on my phone, and on other devices. So I'm not really sure what's going on. But I will say this: if you can't hear us or whatever, please put some comments in the comments section so we can see if our audience is hearing us. And if you can't, it's all right. You want to come back and see the other views. I want to continue with Cheryl. Cheryl, so thank you once again for your story. Thank you for your courage. And I want to say once again, you are absolutely gorgeous, okay? For that gap, you are beautiful and you never have been. And as you know, that grooming part is the most
And they tried to use that against me.
it's the most demeaning, because whatever they could do to make you appear beautiful to them, they want you to think you're not beautiful to others. That's that psychological, I'm going to tear you down. So I'm thankful that God gave you the courage to not only see him and know that God was revealing to you that he took care of it. That's the twist in your story
Yes.
that most people don't get. They don't get to see that individual. Not that you want everybody to have the worst predicament because they harmed you. But when God allows you to see that, he has a purpose behind that. So I just want to say that that's a lot of courage. And also, can I just be real front? With the mentality that you took to be able to hear from God at the very moment you needed to hear that he got you, that means you was in tune with the spirit of God so much
Yeah.
that no matter what the enemy tried to do to convince you otherwise of who you were, God knew who you were and the timing was impeccable. That's why he knows us better than we know
Yeah.
ourselves.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry.
can I please add this, man?
Mm-hmm.
What's amazing is how similar our stories are.
Mm-hmm.
And what's also amazing, what I'm realizing the older I get, man, I'm realizing first of all the craziness and just in the thought of how our spiritual leaders rape our spirits.
Mm.
Yes.
Our
Yes.
spiritual leaders
Raped
rape
our
our spirits.
spirit.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as a result, we live almost an entire life of trying to find our identity, our purpose,
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, because our spiritual leaders, who we trusted to lead us spiritually, violated our spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I'm grateful for, I'm all about gratitude. What I'm grateful for is that God knew that this would happen in our
Yeah.
lifetime. Before we were formed in our mother's womb, He knew the journeys we would take, and as a result, He gave us these amazing gifts, Cheryl.
Yes.
He gave us the gifts of creativity,
Yes.
the gifts to write,
Oh yeah.
the gifts in the arts or whatever, because that those gifts became our therapy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
became our ways of just escaping from the traumatic things that we would go through. So
Yeah.
you writing and me being a designer, what people don't realize when they see the end result of what we do, people don't realize the pain
Mm-hmm.
behind it that caused us to have this now amazing life that people see. There's
There was
pain
pain.
behind all of it.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of something else you said, reminded me of the story of Maya Angelou.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now we know the story about, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sing, her movie,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that it reflected her life of after she was violated.
Mm-hmm.
She became mute.
Mm.
And then she also became an amazing writer.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I want you to know, cousin, you are not alone.
Yeah.
You have my support.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Because understand.
Oh yeah.
I understand. So I just wanted to say that I celebrate you. I celebrate you. I celebrate
Oh yeah.
Other thing I recognize and realize why the enemy would want voiceless. I think I shared with you guys before, but I'll share when there was a girls' night out. I would do Monday a month, and we were at this local winery, and we were sitting around the table, laughing to know each other. I didn't know everyone. A couple of my friends brought other friends with them, but why we were sitting there talking, and my glass of wine drinker, love my wine. Again, about this touch, then that sweet voice speaks.
you.
Share your story. And I'm like, we're sitting here at social hour having a good time. This is not share your story.
Mm.
Happened a third time, share your I opened my mouth and I shared my story. Before that night was over, I did see a young lady go to the restroom, saw her into the restroom, and later that evening, that friend came to me just so strongly and just thanked me, obedient, thanked me for opening my mouth and sharing my story. Informed me that her friend let her know that if it had not been for her, my story, she had planned to go home that night. So what if I didn't know how to release? Have
Did you say she
defeated me.
planned to go home and kill
She was
herself?
planning to go home and die. But because I opened my mouth
Mm.
and shared my story, she recognized that she had hope,
And
that
that's the purpose.
her life was. So that's why, there was a reason but then later on, evolving with God, Spirit working with me, it was time. But that's not what the enemy wanted, because he wants to go destroy, and that's what he was attempting to do, to keep
Mm.
my mouth shut. And God knows who else to take their own life. Tragedy that they had gone to, the travesty that they had experienced, was too much for them to handle and deal with. And that this one person here didn't think, but I spoke.
Yeah.
And it gave her hope.
Yeah. And I want to Tim, you got something to add? I just wanted to go into one of the questions that we have on our flyers, because I know it stumped us. But if I'm going too fast, Tim, and you want to interject at that moment, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I know that the other night it was like it sort of floored all of us to some degree, and it's one of the questions that's on the flyer that we want to talk about as far as this topic and the knowledge of it. And it basically sounds like this: how do you gain victory about? I mean, when it comes to your, I'm sorry, girl, this is so small in my eyes. I must be 50 years old. Don't tell nobody. How do you gain victory when your enemy looks victorious?
You have to trust God and know that he's going to promises, and know that he's going to make us victorious, allow us to see victorious, and then opening our mouths in order to save others. That's how we get the victory too. The point that we're still here and that we are able now to speak.
And, but Cheryl, be honest. Be honest though, Cheryl. And I know you're being honest now, but be honest in the sense that when you saw, even for me, because this is a question for me, because it's kind of hard to answer. When you saw the individual going higher, doing what he do, and living life is normal, but knowing what he calls right.
Yeah, why? Because this he ran for bishop in the church, tried to go and be this person, hundreds of other ministers, and be over so many other. And I'm looking, God, how and why? To understand, how can this person be allowed to be in the pool day in and day out, and want to receive from us? I mean, reverend. That's giving. Sometimes I really don't like that word, because I'm like, God, give reverence to you. But we've been taught to give reverence.
So yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because growing up, I think, because we're all older, all of us. So the era that we've come from the era where we were taught to respect the man of God or the woman of God, to whatever degree that was. You don't talk and you don't put your mouth on the man of God. That's what we were taught. But now that we're woke. We're woke. You know what I mean? Now we're in the social media age, and we just have a different way of thinking now.
Right.
You know, and we understand that we're all men and women of God. First of all,
Right.
I don't have a collar. However, I am God's child. I'm His man.
Yes.
So if you commit a crime against me and my body, you need to be reported to authority and need to be held accountable for your illegal act that you portrayed on a minor. First of all, So we're in a different area, and I know I'm rambling. I'm getting emotional because I'm angry that we've been fed that kind of thinking, and that we have
Yeah.
and we've allowed them to get away with so much because we put them on a pedestal
Yeah.
as far as being the man and women of God.
Yeah.
But you know what, Timmy? We were kind of convinced in a sense because no one really corrected that pedestal lifter, even though they say, well,
Great on that.
don't. I hear you, Deborah, a little bit. Yeah, let me finish this one point and then we're going to let you come in, okay? So I remember they would say with the pulpit from time to time, don't put me above God. But the truth is, because you presented yourself and the people around you made sure that the younger people and the people who was coming to church learned to treat you in such a way. People gain this perspective as this is how we're supposed to do. So you put these people up on these pedestals. It was so bad that Mother Powell, I had a dream. I was a little girl and I was in heaven and all of us was in heaven and we was rejoicing and everything. But Mother Powell was the Holy Ghost. So sometimes you don't know that you're being conditioned or trained or gaining this insight that you're putting people up on such pedestal, even though they say don't. And that's why it comes to you having a personal relationship with God and saying, okay, God, correct the wrongs that's in me, the things that I've developed in myself and I allow to be conditioning of my mind to think so. You give me more understanding of your word so I can live this life for me and you. Because this is my and your relationship. This is I can go to church all I want, but that church ain't going to send me to heaven or hell. It's going to be whatever I decide to build me up. And so I just wanted to tip on that because I know the
But
brother's been trying to get in there. Yeah.
I want to add what we did back then.
Mm-hmm.
We were brainwashed.
Right. Well, they keep
We were,
brainwashed, Cheryl, but it's like am I wrong, Cheryl?
Huh?
we were brainwashed, and we made them idols.
We
We
did.
were
We
brainwashed, and
did.
we made these people
Yeah,
idols.
we did. You're right, Timmy. I be getting this stab in my back because Cheryl, I myself am a minister. I'm ordained for up to elder, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
have different licenses, right? But now my last elevation was elder. So when they say brainwashed, I know it is manipulation, it's witchcraft.
Yes.
But sometimes that word it just does something to me and I'm not contentious at all with it, but sometimes it makes me feel like Lord, I don't want to I don't know what it makes me feel. It just feels weird. But Timmy and Deborah, since we've been on this platform, they come
It
in with brainwash.
is
And I'm
what it
like,
is.
Cheryl
Well,
said
yeah,
It is
let me
what
just
it
ask
is.
you, is anybody able to hear me?
Yeah,
yes. Yes, can you hear us?
Okay, is there a lag or is it just the sound is bad? Because now the sound lag.
There's no lag, but if you want to talk, you can talk because we hear you clearly right now.
Okay. Well, I do have like a couple of things. You know, there's a couple of things I wanted to address. Firstly, so much, cousin Cheryl, for sharing your story. I'm like so inspired just listening. I'm in awe, to be quite honest with you, because I'm like so many. You're a survivor from so many different angles and so many levels. That God-given energy to try to help other people in the platforms and the things that your outreach with your nonprofit. I mean, this is a this is you that you went and did back to that school another beauty
It's
for
noise.
beautiful is it that someone like could to another.
Yeah. And it's what from ashes to beauty, and that's the purpose entitled Real Hope for Help. But one of my main initiatives is to always fly, and that fly is to always first. And one thing that we have failed to do is love ourselves. We get title. We fall in love with that position. We fall in love with God said, how can we love? I mean, how can you love others to love you or the way you love yourself unless you love yourself? And how can you even love God? And God is love. So if we're created in his image, then shouldn't we be?
That's right.
And it's self-love. I cannot love you. And that's what's, and then those individuals who are going through, maybe they've been traumatized, and then maybe there's just silence and sickness. But the biggest issue is their fails, because there's no way you can be in love with yourself and bring harm to someone. There's no way it can happen. So my purpose, just like Monroe, is to die empty. So it is my intention to, by pouring out and teaching others self-love. Love yourself. Once you love yourself, you teach others how to love you.
Absolutely.
Teach every little girl and every little boy how to love yourself, what beauty looks like. You look in the mirror and you're going to see like, you look in the mirror, you're going to see God. So just like it is our daily aim, those of us who know God, we don't want to do any disobey or hurt God. So we look in the mirror and we see ourselves. So we're not hurt ourselves, nor allow anyone else to hurt us. So that is my organization, is to do everything within my power until God speaks and says, to make each individual I encounter recognize themselves, how to watch, like we say, the brain, and it is brainwashing, how to recognize all of the tricks of the trade caught up in it.
Right.
Cheryl, I have a few questions for you. The one question I have is, how did you cope all these years?
It was difficult. I went through the process from, as that little girl here with you guys. I'm just starting. The only person that I have not that I have not shared this with, of course, my father, because he's now deceased since 28, and my mother. And I have no intention of sharing this with her, but to suffer and hurt and feel that she did anything wrong. But I know, and I'm trusting God to protect her, because I know I'm being obedient to him about opening my mouth. I think it was in visiting my oldest sister from and my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, and I was, again, how we got on the subject, but I was led to share about the molestation with them. And I said, oldest sister Chris, I let her know during that time when I started gaining, girl, that was the reason why. I was eating. I couldn't destroy my family. I wasn't going to lose my dad, because, like I said, I have to that humility. So I wasn't going to do anything that was going to cause me to lose my daddy. Although still right, and I ate my pain away. Became the fat girl. A few years later, getting into high school, I got to where was still didn't know how. I couldn't open my mouth. It was like I started starving myself. Weight, and they ended up, I guess, with the acid and the nerves and in the hospital with peptic ulcers. So it was going to have a plastic. Doctors think age 15, 16 years old. Worked through that. God was with me and brought me through that. So although be friends still. I don't think by 15, 16, I understood the full at that time, although I went to church, didn't understand, was still sweet voice talking. Although it was there, it was still a battle. I have a piece entitled World War Me. So it was a world encountering and enduring a world war within, where I'm here telling me it was going to be okay, but I still, to be transparent, I didn't, and people around me didn't understand. My sister didn't understand. There's that little sister, her baby doll that she would dress up was becoming this little fat girl. Then people didn't understand why I'm not eating and I'm starting to lose all this weight on it within. So it was not easy. So it was a journey, my journey. Some of these writings I was able to compose, and these are some of the jewels of my journey, because it was a journey and it was a process through.
Did you have any support?
It wasn't easy.
Did you have any support? I mean, do you feel like you had any?
There was always family was there. The person, like I said, my family, it was my sister, my oldest sister, a week or so ago spoke to my other 3 siblings, but throughout this teenager, young adult, I was able to connect to at my college, and then his wife was a medical doctor. He was a theologian, philosophy, all of that. So often individuals see the gift in you that you don't see. They saw a calling, so they took an interest. I was seeing this person was doing these years. They in the church would come to Jackson here. I mean, there was the annual conference, but then there was what we call the tri-state, where it would come to Jacksonville, and the convention would convene, and a lot on the campus of Edward Waters College. I have to see this person. And so it was, like I say, the phone calls. So this one day at my job, because I was in the president's office, the tears came. So I shared the story. Support was there with me. So
can I add to left on the wing of the first question? I think somebody's phone is really giving some bad feedback. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna mute your phones when the noise is coming from, okay? Just for now. And when you want to talk, I got you. So what I want to I want to answer a piece of that question as well, because from my testimony, Cheryl, and I think that there's some similar perspectives that you and I gained in our experiences. My father didn't necessarily do any damage to me as far as any sexual abuse, none of that. He didn't even do physical abuse. The physical abuse and emotional abuse I experienced under my father was making certain that his swings didn't hit my mother, making certain that iron wouldn't knock her out, making certain that I would find tools that he would probably use and have the babies run around and hide them and take them away. So when he come in drunk, we won't expect him to find something to be able to kill mommy with. So those were the things that overwhelmed me. So the question I just want to impose on this part is, when I got older, I always felt second to all my sisters and brothers, because the youngest was way smarter than me in my brain. My oldest one was the daddy's baby, the genius, the amazing. So I could care less what he thought about me, but it wasn't until I went to college, right? I'm going to show you how I'm answering this question. It wasn't until I went to college that I realized that everything you thought about me, I'm going to show you different. It wasn't intentional. But when I got back from college, my father said to me something really crazy. Who would say this to their child? He said to me, he said, T, I never thought you would go to college. You know, because he expected the oldest to shine me out because he thought I wasn't supposed to be born. He beat the crap out of my mother because she was pregnant with me. You know, the enemy tried to take my life by making me, and I became premature because my grandmother, and this is all in the book, my grandmother taught my mom how to have an abortion with turpentine and sugar, but it didn't work. It didn't kill me. So my mom thought she wasn't pregnant, and she was a 16, 17-year-old woman, little girl. She wasn't a woman, she was a girl, 17, and she started smoking because she thought I would die and didn't not make it. Well, the reason why I mentioned that, I have no idea, but the reason why I mentioned that is because my father always tried to intentionally make me feel secondary to my sister and anybody else around me. And like almost like I didn't matter, even though I was the one that he concentrated on learning how to fix things. So it looked like I had a relationship because he always wanted me there while he's fixing the car, and he was teaching me things on how to have stamina, wherewithal to continue and be able to figure anything out. So I did get those gifts from him. But the way I'm answering the question is, I wanted to prove to him, you think your daughter that's older is the greatest, but I'm gonna show you. So when he came to tell me, that was his way of saying, T, I'm really proud of you, but I'm shocked because you're not her. You know? So was it the right way that I wanted to approach it, by getting educated and trying to go that next level? Possibly not. But I did that for the sake of my own self, and I wanted to prove to him, you're nothing. I could. This is T back in the day. You're nothing. I could care less about what you think. My mother told me I had to go to college. I'm going to college. But I still, in my own way, found out in my heart. I learned that I still utilize that education to almost kick him in the face and say, you didn't win. So I think that, Timmy, I could be wrong. I'm sorry, I keep hearing y'all, but this noise keeps coming every time, like somebody's banging something. But I really do know that that was my way. Was it always right? No, but I do believe, and I stand on what you say. You just literally let go and let God. My cousin Tim, my heart used to break because I wanted him, believe it or not, to do more. But I didn't know his intimate life to be able to, because we didn't have that relationship because of so much that would divide us. I wanted to get him to just go after him and deal with him and sue him and do all. I was trying in my brain and my heart, with my mouthpiece to my mom, with my mouthpiece to my sisters, wanting to convince them that this is what Timmy should do. But at the end of the day, he had to do what literally worked for him at the end of the day. So I want Timmy to know. Can I tell you, Timmy?
Please tell me. Yeah, yeah.
Go, baby. I saw the decline of. I was
Don't
about to,
do it.
I was
No.
about to call him animal. Of the rapist. I saw the decline of the rapist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I saw, and the reason why, because I could see him just diminish. He diminished in his speech. He diminished in his person. Even not just because Uncle shot the crap out of him. Excuse me. I'm gonna be honest. My uncle shot the man who tried who
Yeah,
raped
yeah,
us. Right? I don't care. I got it. It's the truth. If it was a lie and I was making up, you come for me. Come for me. I got you. But anyway, I'm sorry.
You can Google it.
Oh.
Listen, yeah.
Well, instead, we got to see with our eyes how God was just. And God gave you that opportunity, but I know my cousin was suffering because he never really got to see what we were seeing. So maybe, Tim, God allowed us to be this. So I don't know. I could be wrong. I know it was hurting to you.
Okay.
But that question is so big and so vast, and it is hard to answer because you didn't really get to see. You knew, but you did think he was getting victory when we were there and looked like supporting him. Yes or no, baby?
So I want to say this to you, and I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Um, You said you wanted me to do more. And in my heart, I wanted to do more. But I felt like, and please hear me, I felt like I had no support.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know.
You know what I'm saying? When you feel like you have no support, you know, you don't want to go through that by yourself. And it was a lot, and I was embarrassed because here I am now during that time when all of the shooting and all that, when the shooting happened. I was living in Atlanta. I had moved to Atlanta. And so I felt helpless because here I am all the way in Atlanta and all of that drama is going on in Jersey. And I felt it was because of me. I felt bad. I felt embarrassed because all of this was going on in Jersey because of me.
Yeah.
That was my interpretation of that was it was all happening because of me. I felt
Right.
embarrassed. I wanted to do more, but I felt embarrassed. Like, wow.
Isn't that something?
Crazy.
Cheryl,
It's
isn't
crazy,
that
man.
something?
Yeah, man.
That they
And I
do
think I
feel
can
embarrassed when
I
they shit.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying. No, I can feel the pain and what he's saying. The embarrassment wasn't that I did not want to hurt
Right.
my father and held in, where Tim, didn't feel he had the support. I out that support was going to be there full force, but I did that pain to my father, and the same thing with skate by getting married. I was married twice. I rushed into a marriage, never gotten married, but that was my escape, trying to escape this monster.
Right.
I almost caused pain to my father because LaTishia, where your father, in a backwards way, didn't think you were gonna be successful. He was looking, but when I got married, in his mind, I think he aged like Ted. He thought I was gonna get pregnant and drop out of school, but that was another way. I wasn't gonna hear about this pain, what had happened to me, and I wasn't gonna hurt my pregnant and dropping out of school. I was gonna be that person that my daddy taught me how much he loved me. So I was gonna keep my mouth shut, showing him unknown to him, and graduate from college and show him the great things my love.
Right.
So there's just all those similar, but it's all comes into a full circle. Couldn't want it to talk. Maybe in some expected him to say more, but he couldn't. And then here's someone taking action, probably I know in a way action on his behalf, but he's feeling hurt, and then all of this commotion is going on because of him.
Right.
And a part of that is resent and maybe feeling in a way. I don't know if you thought this, Tim. Up now, maybe feeling in a way that you were not worth all.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing to that. Going back to feeling embarrassed, when I said that earlier. Also embarrassed because he was the man of God, and also because he was a man of influence. Because before we had these mega churches, we have Jakes and all these other big names now. Back then we didn't have those big names. He was big in the community at the time. And so I was embarrassed because he was influential in the community and all this was happening because of me. So I didn't want to say anything. I just kind of went into myself. I became mute like Maya Angelou. And creating was my outlet. You know what I mean? Because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. Even though I did nothing wrong. I was ashamed. And let's add the fact that it's a man molesting a boy. When you have two men, and back then the stigma, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be attached to that. And I had all of our uncles were like men. So I didn't want to admit that another man tried to penetrate me with his penis.
Mm-hmm.
Who want to do that? You know what I'm saying? But I want to ask both you and T a question. Cheryl, you and T, I want to ask y'all a question. Do you feel like you guys became in some way overachievers? Yeah, because see that's what I heard.
I think I have something to prove.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
probably.
honest.
Yeah.
My mom, for real. She told us when we were kids. There's a lot of feedback. Hold on. She told us when we was kids. She was probably about 9 years old, and she went into this lady's house and she saw all of her children lined up at the. You know how you have a ledge at the top of all your windows, and you put all those pictures up there from back in the day. Well, she went into this woman's house, and her house had all her children who graduated from high school, college, all there. And she said when she was 9 years old, that she was going to make it certain that her children have those pictures up on her wall. So I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I never forgot the fact that my mom's intention was to make sure went to college. Now, my father, he helped me through school, like having different types of, you know, like helping me with math and stuff. But it was the fact that she told me. So that got me there. But when I got there and I knew the way he treated me concerning my sister was a lot less, I wanted to prove to that abuser, not the sexual abuser, to that abuser, you don't. So I pushed in overachieving because I wanted my sisters. And then I think another thing was that my that pastor Mother Powell tried to convince me. I'm sorry I say names. We'll be all right. She tried to convince me not to go to college. Because I was a worship leader. I was training the choirs, and I was doing a lot in the house of God. And she felt as though T, I'm gonna lose you if you go to college. If we lose you, you know what? We don't want you to not know God anymore because you stuck on the stuff that college is teaching you against God. So, a long answer to your short question is various reasons why I had to push and pursue. But another thing was my sisters and brothers. I wanted them to know, even though I was told not to go to college, I want y'all to go to college because that's going to get us out of the ghetto. We weren't in a ghetto, but it's going to get us in a better options. But the main reason was, I think that underlying it, regardless of what my mother thought, regardless of Mother Powell thought, I think to some degree even at this stage, Timmy, I wanted to prove him wrong. I did. I think I never ever admitted this. This is so crazy. This is therapy right now. But I never ever admitted this. But I really think that maybe I pursued education. Even what I do now, I still push hard. I push really hard educationally. And it's like, I don't know if it's really tied to that, but it may be because, yeah. What you think, Sean? Or it was just
So that's some question, Tim. But
Yeah.
I never thought of it. But I think subconsciously, because
Yes.
not that I've ever wanted to be seen, openly
Mm-hmm.
prove a point to anyone,
Mm-hmm.
but I think subconsciously multitask. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
multi-gifted. So if
mm,
I was going
Mm-hmm.
to do it, Johnny, on the spot and make it happen. Because
mm-hmm.
now
Yes.
that I asked that question, just thinking about it, I
Yeah.
think you said I couldn't do it. You said this gap, you said this, and all of
Absolutely.
this was going to hit. Let me
Yeah.
show you what I can do.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I would
Right.
just over. I think so. I
Mm-hmm.
think not in a boastful
But
way,
you know,
but yeah, I had something to prove. Yeah,
Wow.
I think so,
the the
because I
crazy.
was told that what I could not and what people were not is gonna, they're gonna talk about you. They're gonna, I'm the only one. They're not, even called me Bunny.
Mm.
I mean, just. But anyway, yeah, I think so, Tim.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Cheryl, do you ever really get to think about that? Because he just making me trigger in this thought. Maybe.
I really, but then told me that I needed to slow down because I think, well, you all know my journey survivor. During the time when I had to sit down and be still during that journey of cancer, again, that friend, God Almighty, was letting me know
Mm-hmm.
that I was being a Martha.
Mm.
It was time to be married. It was time for me to take in,
Mm-hmm.
receive
Mm-hmm.
from Him, hear Him,
Right.
just doing anything anyone needed me to do right. I have about 3 or 4 PhDs now with all of the papers and stuff I help. I mean, open, have my own private school. There's so designing clothes, just so much. Just have you photo shoots just from one extreme catering,
Girl, you sound like
yeah. I
me.
mean, just from one extreme to the other.
I just ain't make
If you
clothes
ask me,
like you were 10.
I would do that, and then, but God let me know during that journey, be still. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gave those gifts to you, but you're supposed to allow yourself to be used up. You have
Yeah.
another purpose. And again, now, Tim, you're good. I think that attack of the enemy. If I stayed that busy, Martha doing all of this other stuff that happened, all of the other books that are about to happen, and my sowing into these other people to him overcome or not have to endure what we do if I would have stayed that busy person trying to
Mm-hmm.
prove my
Yeah.
things. I wouldn't be where I am now
Yeah.
because I can say I sometimes get caught up. I have to pull myself that back in and slow down because a few
Me too.
friends, I need you to. I don't have time. I don't have time because I know my purpose now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Although we have all of these gifts, sometimes the enemy will use our gifts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I so understand where you're coming from. And I was telling someone the other day. I said, I think with this particular platform, I think God is reeling me in. He's reeling me in because I'm starting to see that when He opens up the door for your purpose,
Mm-hmm.
He makes the way easy. Does it make
Mm-hmm.
sense? And so all the greatness in UT and these visionary and these big old shows and all the stuff you used to do, you were hustling hard. And even with business today, I had to reevaluate because y'all know, I don't know if y'all know, I have my own insurance company. And so even with that today, I began to reflect and say, Lord, if you want me to put that down, even though when my mother passed, my understanding of insurance began to, and the reality that people need to get in order, it began to shift. And I thought, well, let me go into insurance and see what everybody else knows. And, but if it doesn't please God for my purpose, I know He created me for divine purpose. And in fulfilling that, it's going to take me to narrow down all of this gifting and creativity. It's not to say let it go completely, but it is to say, God, what in this season do you need from me so I can fulfill the true, full reason why you created me? And He said, your gift will make room for you. That don't mean I stop singing. That don't mean I stop writing. That don't. It means that when God is ready to use those gifts, He gonna let me know.
Right.
But in the meantime, where He has me right now, I better give it full throttle. And I better not try to make this happen on my own. I better do what He leads me to do. Because everybody out there, because I see people posted on here, they're trying to put their podcast up, and I'm not mad at their podcast. But the vision has to be almost like tunnel vision because there's so many approaches to abuse that you can jump into, and I want to attack them all because for real, Timmy Shaw and Deborah, because I want Deborah to speak. Her phone just it's just a lot of noise, but for real, if it's not like focused in a position, then we're all over the place, and I don't want us to be all over the place. But I will tell you, it doesn't mean that my abuse was tunnel. It wasn't one dimensional. Because in the book, if you read Generational Curses, you'll learn about how Audrey from the gate, and that's why we have a guest coming in a few weeks. She's going to come in because she was in the house of God with Audrey, being that same young girl being beat by her husband in the house of God. And the men and women of God didn't sense what they were going through. And they were young girls raising all these kids, going home to abusive men, but yet you're in the house of the Lord and nobody's sensing that. So that's a topic that I want to approach only because it's in the book, but I definitely know that God has something for this. And I want to say thank you so much, Cheryl. I think we have one more question I want to tip on real quick. And that question is the last part of the question. Why in the world should we, and I'm going to sound real crazy, because a lot of people think it's just sitting around sulking from yesterday's pain. But why is it necessary, though we've said it a couple times tonight, that we tell these stories? Why?
I mean, enough
Well,
to save other lives,
go ahead.
save lives.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, something that I wanted to say if everybody can hear me now. I'm so sorry. This has been the worst technical difficulties ever. But I definitely wanted to chime in to a few things, and I wanted to talk about a little bit like with the grooming. And I know T has said something about how Mother Powell played the Holy Ghost. Is that what
Yeah,
happened?
she was the Holy Ghost in my dream.
And you know what? I didn't remember. Was she actually the Holy Ghost in your dream, or did she actually play that role at church?
She was the Holy Ghost in my dream. Like literally, we was up in heaven, and everybody was rejoicing. And she came down in her long white robe, and she was in my little girl's dream, the Holy Ghost.
And you know what I think is so interesting about that is because I had the same perception of her, and we never spoke about that until we were adults. And
Right,
so, yeah, I know, I'm not trying to like retract everything, but I kind of wanted to pull that all together, to say like the different ways that we go about trying to live life and trying to survive and trying to thrive and everything. And in the meantime, everybody's been upholding that system of silence and abuse. And, as far as me, the reason why it's necessary to do all this is to finally liberate all of
Absolutely.
us so that we can be free and so that we can free the next generation and younger ones so that they don't have to be afraid and scared or feeling unseen or unheard or feeling like they're embarrassed or ashamed of something that they didn't do and it's not their fault. So I'm hoping that anybody under the sound of our voice now or later on, they feel free and liberated and they speak with someone in a safe space so that we can break this cycle. What you talk about in your book and what's addressed and the same energy that pushes and propels all of you to put in some work to try to empower people. All of that. I want that energy circulating so that we can be a part of the solution
right,
and no longer a part of that silence and that grooming and that, like you said, they say to you, don't make me a god. But then again, that's where the brainwash comes in. Something had to be communicated to us to all walk away with that same impression of a person who's saying that they're not God. Something else happened, other messages. So we want to, and I love the work that Cheryl's doing because she's saying that she wants to show the children the signs. Like what are people saying? How are they acting? How are they being? What's unusual? What's uncomfortable? So as we continue these conversations, I want us all to just become more knowledgeable on ways to spot these predators
And
and expose them.
can I add what children are saying and what they're not saying? We have to pay attention to the nonverbal language. Like we have really got to pay attention to what people are not saying. You know what I mean? When people go from, like me and Cheryl, and I'm assuming Cheryl from what I hear, well, before the abuse, we were. I know I was active. I was a kid, like just doing stuff, climbing trees and whatever. But after the abuse, I became very shy and timid, and no one paid attention to my action. Like, how do you go from that extreme to now being a child who don't want to be bothered? Parents, pay attention to what your children are not saying, please. What I'm grateful for is that y'all, our elders and people who have gone before us, unfortunately, have died. Their stories are in the grave. We have an opportunity now to tell our stories while we are living, so that others can live. You know what I mean? So I celebrate you all. I just wanted to say that. Unfortunately, people, there are many stories that are very similar to ours. But we have an opportunity to now tell our stories. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Absolutely. And if everyone can hear me, I want to say I want to chime in on one other thing because Timmy had mentioned something earlier about that these predators had committed crimes. And I don't think we really I don't know if we looked at it that way when we were younger, because I'm like, what the heck? So it's twofold, because a lot of people say, you shouldn't be judging sin. And I've actually heard people say that, like, you can't be that mad at a child molester when there's a lot of sin in the world. We all sin. I've actually had someone say that, and it seemed like they said it with conviction, because they believe that no sin should be measured against the other, that God doesn't weigh sin. That's one aspect of it, and I don't agree personally. Me, other people can feel whatever ways they feel, but I feel like, what about the other part, as far as the accountability and the legal ramifications and everything? So going forward, I want to be clear on my personal stance, is that this is also illegal.
It's illegal.
Okay, it's illegal to rape and molest people. Okay, to rape and molest children, women, men. It doesn't matter. You're taking over someone's body and their own personal autonomy, and you have no rights to it. You are not entitled to anyone. Body, their privacy, under their clothes, none of that. So I feel like, we need to be clear, and I'm going to be clear on my stance with that as well. And if anybody had any question or doubt on that going forward, you will be, if I can't catch wind of anything, you will be held accountable. If I observe or witness anything, you will be held accountable, because this is a new day and it is breaking generational curses, which means we can't do the things that we used to do the way we used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I want to dispel the whole idea that it's just a spiritual thing or it's just a sin thing. It's also a crime. And that's something I want to say as well.
Yeah.
Period.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. That's excellent. Thank you so much for that and giving your input. We finally kind of hear you.
Horrible.
It's a little bit of feedback, but I don't know what it is, but it's all right, because we still can hear you as much as we can. But I will say thank you so much for tonight. We're almost about to wrap up. Normally we'd be on Facebook and interacting with our audience, but for some reason, this particular platform is allowing people to see this live stream through YouTube. So when they go to my Facebook page, they have to click the link, and the link takes them to YouTube. Not everybody wants to go on YouTube. They want it to be on Facebook. So I think there's a little bit something that went a little different. I don't know why it did that, but the Facebook page led them to the YouTube page. That's why we have people responding from YouTube. And so I wish I could have gotten a point where we can answer any questions. Because tonight we wanted to, allow people to call in, but because that happened, that's going to probably put a delay on it. Does anyone have anything to say in that regard?
Well, yeah, I would like to say something. I do see a couple of comments that came through on Restream. We're using a new app tonight. If you're joining with us, just be aware we are testing out different things to find what absolutely works. This is a new show. We're on this is episode 4, if I'm not mistaken, right? So bear with us, right? But I do see some comments here from Let's Talk About Foster Adoption podcast, and they're in agreement with us. They're saying true, true, true. I'm not exactly sure at what point, but at some point you agreed. So thank you for your agreement. And we do have a message from William McClendon.
Yeah.
says, love you, Cheryl, your big sis. And I saw earlier said, my Shiro. That's right. And then we have someone.
My big brother,
Uh,
my brother-in-law.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining my cousin-in-law, apparently. Hi,
Yep.
cousin-in-law, William. How you doing? It is such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have Lazy Edits, I believe it says it's interesting. Thank you for your feedback. Like T just said, we're going to only get better and it's going to get more refined. So stay tuned. And we know that on Facebook, we didn't stream. So that's why we have a little less comments, but we're going to get all of those kinks ironed away. Just stay with us, stick with us, and come back for the next one and the next and the next. And I will say, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to anyone on the panel and we will address in the next episode. How about that? Just send questions to our inbox, to our messenger on Facebook. If you didn't get a chance to be heard, because I actually know some people personally who wanted to join tonight and they're like, what happened? And I can't find you. I can't see you. So once we get all that squared away, it will be great. But in the meantime, how about send us questions through our messenger and we'll definitely address them on the next episode. But that's my feedback there. Thank you so much for joining. God bless everyone.
So what we have, when we finish our show, we make little clips of different excellent parts of the show, and we post it through, whether it's through YouTube, whether it's through our Facebook, we repost everything. So you'll see a lot of clips of the events from tonight. Listen, I just want to encourage you that if you are going through, or if you have gone through, please reach out to someone. And if you can't reach out to someone or you don't trust someone in the church or anything like that, you can definitely, like Deborah said, get in contact with us. If you want to inbox us, we're here for you. I will say this. I'm a certified abuse counselor, all points of abuse. I know that Cheryl has her certification. Cheryl, you want to give more information on your certifications for abuse?
Hi, I am a mental health advocate and a life coach. So please feel free to reach out to me on that platform, and also have website realhopeforhelp.com and email .com. I am here to help, and I want to make sure I'll tell you, fly. First, love yourself.
Yeah.
Never allow anyone else to come in yourself, and it's not selfish to love yourself.
So I'm going to put up a quick code so you can see if you would like to purchase Generational Curses by Barnes and Noble. You can use your device and click on the QR code and it'll take you straight to the book, or you can go to Amazon, and here is the Amazon purchase right here for Generational Curses. Generational Curses No More. You can also use your your phone, to be able to go straight to the website and to make that purchase. Now, the other thing is that we want you to stay in touch with us. So if you want to leave your emails and be able to be updated when events are about to come, please stay in contact with us. We're going to get everything in order so that you can be able to reach out to us even more efficiently. But in the meantime, between time, you can always meet us at LaTishia, LaNier-Mckinnie on Facebook. You can go there, and then you can go to our YouTube, which is LaNier-Mckinnie Enterprises LLC YouTube page. You can always reach out to Deborah. A lot of people know Deborah. Deborah is very, very famous. And then please reach out to Tim Arrington. Tim Arrington, everyone is very well knowledgeable about his gifting, his amazing ability to make clothes. He's a phenomenal seamster. So please get in touch with him. But he's also has an amazing story, and he can be of some great help to you. Does anyone want to leave any link information, any way that somebody can contact you? Wait. Repeat
Okay.
that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you can contact me as always, on my page, LaNier. In terms of business and anything in terms of what we're doing with the Integrity Chapter, feel free to go to the integritychapter.org. If you wanted to know whatever the updates are going on as far as on the organizational end. But personally, you can reach me at any time in my messenger. I am definitely here, all ears. We're looking forward to hearing your story. We're looking forward to hearing you, to experiencing your freedom, right? So breaking free. We're looking forward to being a part of that, being a part of your healing process in any capacity. And we have resources here, as been stated. And just thank you so much for joining. I'm looking forward to the next time.
All right, don't forget. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
I want to say, if you all wanted to contact me, you can definitely hit me up on Facebook, or you can hit me up. You can send me an email. Send an email to arringtondesigns@gmail.com. ARRINGTONS@gmail.com. I forgot the designs part, but yeah. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. So I just got some great information. They said the show was great. They saw the whole show, and so they appreciate the information that they learned tonight. So we're going to be getting a lot of lingering texts and messages from different people. I did have someone who was monitoring us. They said it did have a choppy sound, so restream is not excellent like we want it to be. We can try another platform, and I definitely don't want us to not be in order. Is there anything else anybody want to break through tonight before we say good night?
This is great.
Thanks again, Cheryl. Thanks for joining. Thank you again,
It was my
Cheryl.
So
pleasure.
much.
Thank you all. I loved it.
Thank you for sharing. I love you.
Love
Thank you
all
so much.
too.
God bless you. Have a
God
good
bless.
Love y'all.
Generation.